Nova Flare Flop Zhao, you guys think? You know what's funny? I'm doing all this like hyped up Asheville, but it's like low key Buff Seal might do the same shit. Change title? What's wrong, Everly? Is it not accurate? Change the title or I tell Solon to make Rebecca not free. Holy, chillax, guys, chillax. Listen, Fei Xiao had her moments. We're retiring her jersey. You know, history. But history is history. You know what I'm saying? People move on. They find better things. Yeah. So. Yo, chill, uni, chill. Low key. Yo, who's with me, bro? Asheville buffs. Asheville buffs. Increase his charge rate. Buff the rest of his Eidolons outside of E1. Who's with me, man? Me, beautiful. That's what I like to see. Nerf into oblivion. He does need an energy or Fua frequent buff. That's why I guessed verse in one of my community posts that buffed Woho is probably going to be his best sustain. I mean, he's obviously going to have... I think he's going to continue to have these energy issues until he gets his main DPS, of course. Like, he's obviously not meant to be a bajillion Fua spammer, but... he should get buffed in his main DPS by probably buffed Woho. Yo, chill, uni, chill. That's dark humor you're getting into. We don't want that. We need him to be strong. In reality, though, like, he isn't power creep. At least I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he's, like... he's probably top tier 3.x DPS level, but I don't think he's stronger than some of the teams in this game. What's impressive about his performance, especially for people who may feel like, you know, oh, I don't use my Sunday anymore. I don't use my Tribby anymore. I don't use my Robin anymore. Like, that's where Asheville comes in, right? Like, he's pick me up, give me your generalist supports you don't use anymore, and I'm going to perform against Endgame. That's kind of what Asheville is currently. $78 pulls. Not bad, not bad. Alright, black screen for a bit, guys. No white text, unfortunately. I'm going on my Cassie account to do dailies. Holy burp. Getting him E1. Yeah, his E1 is like really good investment. I'm surprised most of these showcases aren't using his E1. But I'm guessing they're just doing it to save cost. But, like, he needs to get the rest of his Eidolons buffed, in my opinion, though. Like, all the rest of his Eidolons are severely undercooked. And then it's like, he literally only has the E1. That's really his only vertical. Where's the white text? My bad. Oh my god, warning. Whale. Whale. Trigger warning. Is Evernight Lycone good? Yeah.
Stars, shine for the heroes. Rise and shine. Night falls. Good night. Have some sunshine. Dispel the gloom. Restore the skies. Embrace a new light.
Sparkle's likely still. Well, yeah, there's one. The fact that buff Nova Flare Sparkle is just a significantly better buffer than any other hyper carry support. But also, two, she's free. Like, if you use the 4.0 selector, people literally just get Sparkle for free. Which makes her, like, more accessible than any other limited.
May death protect us. Memories waiting to be woken up by a shooting star. Remember me with love. May life and death.
How long do you think Anoxa will remain meta?
Blink. May time watch over the Evernight.
It depends what you consider meta.
Cleanse hatred with love.
I'd say once we probably get to Himiko SP, we're going to have a new power ceiling because of the Annie units in Himiko.
Embrace a new
Asheville is probably going to get his main DPS in a few patches after this time period. And even though they'd still be enough to clear and they'd be strong enough, obviously, people wouldn't consider them meta anymore. People would be looking at probably Silverwolf for meta. What is meta though? Well, when people talk about meta, I assume like for me, when people talk about meta, what I think of is like the top Amphorius teams. You got Phanon and his beautiful Eidolon investment. You got Evernight Hyper Carry. You got Cassie's Mono Rem. You got Anoxa Irene Ceridra combo. Like, I think of these four probably the most when people talk about meta. Of course, Dot is also there, and they have their early investment. And then it's like after here, where low-key, like, teams start dropping in comparison, in my opinion. Like, would I tell someone that my day's meta, when there's like 4 or 5 DPS stronger than him, and every new DPS release will be stronger than him? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, I don't know. You guys can disagree with me, but I just find it kind of misleading telling someone like, yeah, this guy's meta. Well, Mono Rem is like, okay, Mono Rem has like, yes, this is the best way to explain it. Mono Rem is exponential, right? At the beginning, the investment and what you get for it isn't the best as compared to like Hyper Carry Evernight, but over time, the more and more you invest into that team's vertical investment, the more stupidly strong it grows, to the point where it's just absolutely disgusting. That's kind of how Mono Rem is. Like, there isn't a single character on that entire team who has bad Eidolon investment. Not a single one. Telling them he's not meta will mislead them into thinking he's not clearing. Well, that's other people's fault if they think not meta means doesn't clear. Like, what? Like, in the first place, like, just clearing is such a low bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone's goal is just clearing and just clearing for you is the meta, then people getting, like, one cost MOC clears with Gallagher DPS with Dahlia is meta. Right? It's like, not really. You know what I'm saying? Not really. At least in my opinion. Who knows? Maybe Gallagher DPS is meta to someone else. Yeah, I could see that, Dark. My thing is, though, like, it depends on when this game does its power jumps. Because, like, for example, Mono Rem is, like, twice as strong as compared to Herda's best in slot team. And they're within the same version. Herda can clear with her best in slot team. But am I going to say Herda's meta when a team that much stronger exists? That's where, like, the question comes in for me. Because it's hard to compare when something is just so much stronger. Yeah, Acheron's Eidolon investment is, like, kind of mid. It's pretty mid. Yeah, 4.1 apparently has a good bit of HP inflation. Now, here's the thing. As always, Nikador is like... I feel like they always put Nikador when they want to push it a little too far with HP inflation at the beginning of a version. Right? Like, maybe Nikador is just the one they throw in there to accustom people to it. But, like, Nikador's effective health isn't actually 20 million. Okay? At least if you're like an Asheville or any AoE character who can hit the spears. Those spears do like half his HP bar on both sides, right? And on top of this, he'll keep resummoning them if you take too long, which makes it even easier for low cost teams just to clear, right? So on 4.1, it won't actually feel the worst. However, it's when they start, smoothing in non-Nikador, non-highly mechanic-based bosses still having that high-ass HP where it becomes a problem. Where does Sparksy, Sparkle, Yao Guang, Don Hung fall on the DPS rankings? Currently, I think they're like... They're... If we take E0 teams only without Eidolon investment, they're probably top 3. Top 4. No, Sparksy's not below Aglaya. No. Sparksy's not below Aglaya. Sparksy has like a 4 cost brute force 0 cycle against Iker. Doesn't even bother breaking him. Just fucking brute forces it. And that's non-shill Iker. So, I don't think so. And considering, like, this team isn't at all in their best in slot, they're getting pretty hard nerfed by not having a third elation character. That performance is really good. Also, I watched HOS's showcase of Asheville, and someone actually asked him in the comments if he believed that Asheville was on par or stronger than Sparksy Yao Guang. And he said no. He doesn't think so. He thinks that they are probably slightly stronger. I swear Aglaya is top 2 DPS? Hell no. Nope. The current best teams for low cost zero cycling, like current MOC, I think are Evernight main DPS, Anoxa, Phanon, Firefly, and probably some other team I don't know of. Because I know Firefly has like a 4 cost zero cycle. Yeah, I saw it. I saw MLP. Yeah, I saw it. Oh yeah, Archer. Yeah, Archer. Archer also has a same thing. Oh yeah, I don't disagree. I know Asheville is gonna get an overall team upgrade when he eventually gets his own main DPS. I know that. But I'm just saying like currently Asheville, if you decide to run him hyper carry, like I don't think he's like power creep or anything. He's just really good at being able to abuse Nikador's spears. And it's not like he needs to do that, by the way, but he does need more investment, more similar to other teams, same to clear Nikador, if he doesn't take advantage of the spears with his follow up. Like, I think HOS probably made the best showcase for just seeing how much pure damage he can do. Because in HOS's showcase with like Woho sustain and stuff, he didn't even bother aiming the spears. And I think he did that on purpose because he just wanted to test the damage. But all these low cost zero cycles are just fucking smashing the spears. And yeah, I mean, it leads to fucking insane damage. Yeah, Asheville doesn't follow up as frequently as Moe's does, which leads to him being a kind of mid sub DPS. Now, I'm not saying he isn't best in slot for a lot of these older DPSs. However, his potential for them specifically simply isn't the greatest because of how slow his follow ups are. And in some DPS, when you aren't funneling him turns and energy, his charge, his ability to acquire charges is incredibly fucking slow. I'm fairly sure he can 1 cost sustain Cocolia, 2 cost Ligus. Really? You think he's that strong? You think you're going that far? If so, then yeah, that would be power creep. That's probably stronger than any team currently. I've gotten 1% on Cocolia. I just need to play better. Oh, wow. Okay, then. Yeah. That's stronger than every... Okay. Wow. Bro, he's getting cucked because of him being a sub DPS. Meaning he doesn't have the best vertical investment. Which is kind of sad. But that is really impressive. I think Asheville at this point is like a great pickup. Once again, for those who don't use their generalist supports anymore because they got like Cyrene, they got Buff Sparkle. Like, just throw on a Sunday Tribby, Sunday Robin with him, and he clears. I think Asheville is very useful for that. V1 usually gets nerfed. Well, he could get nerfed, but Eh? It's like, why would they even nerf him? He's not, remember, he's not getting any teammate until near the end of version 4. According to what Anon said. Anon said it's going to take longer for him to get his best in slot DPS as compared to Kafka for Swan. And Kafka for Swan was like 4 patches or something. So, assuming his DPS is like 5-6 patches away, Man isn't getting any team upgrade for a long ass time. So they need to make him playable as a main DPS. Nice, Dark. Also, once again, like I made my own community post for his best vertical investment. Right now, I think it's probably E2 Sparkle. Put him on Quantum Set. And then E1 Sunday. Because that's 40% defense down, 30% from E2 Sparkle, 10% from Quantum Set, 16% from E1 Sunday, which puts him at 96%. And then like E1, E2 Don Hung. Oh, obviously he has his E1. That too. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, his buffs are... The thing is, not only are his buffs broken for sub-DPS, but him having 40% defense down increases, like, supports who can give him defense shred value. So it's like, it goes both ways, too. Him having these buffs and it buffing himself completely benefits him, which is hilarious. It's kind of similar to Anoxa, but, like, I don't even think Anoxa has this much defense shred. And he applies it for the entire team. So if you got something like an E2 Don Hung with this much defense shred, like, the dragons are doing probably disgusting levels of damage. Also, Don Hung has like some decent... Oh, what a voice crack. Don Hung has some pretty decent synergy because his follow-ups activate his what's it called? His follow-ups. So like if you run a Sunday Sparkle team where you usually want to skill on them 99% of the time and there's not really anyone to activate his follow-ups, that's where you use like Don Hung PT. Yeah, he doesn't need these teams, but I assume this is just his full best in slot currently. I assume it's Sparkle Sunday and then Don Hung PT. Maybe buffed Huohuo in the future. That is in the air. But for right now. Do you think he could be ran main DPS without Sunday? Yeah, 100%. You don't need Sunday. He'll clear with legit just buff Sparkle and probably RMC. It won't be pretty, especially in sustain, but it'll for sure work. He can use Don Hung instead of Huohuo anyways. Chat, low key, I told you guys I wanted to go for E1 Heistlands for my dot team. What if I folded for Asheville? Listen, okay? I didn't think he was this strong. What are we thinking, bro? What are we thinking? Last stream you said he's an easy skip. Okay. The problem with me pulling Asheville is the sustain. I don't got any sustain slots left on that account, bro. They're all gone, man. I'd have to pull buffed Woho. One second. Run back. Oh yeah, Silverwolf SP will be stronger than Asheville for sure. Asheville being this strong means the next patch characters will probably be stronger. It's pretty likely. Which is like, I can't say I didn't expect this, given how crazily they buff Sparkle. It probably was a sign that they were about to do some power creep, but we'll see how the HP inflation goes. Eon levels of folding? Well, like, okay. The thing is, I already have a Sunday on my Saber account that, like, I'm not even going to use because I'm going to be using Archer, right? And then I'm going to be investing in my Firefly team. So these are like my two biggest teams on that account. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just put him with an Asheville. Or sorry, I put him with a Sunday. I also have Robin. I do need to grab her Lycone at some point though, probably. Or E1. And it's like, I have two supports for the guy already. It's just free. All I do is pick up Woho, and the guy's good. His Lycone jump is trash. Like, oh my god. This guy has sub-DPS, can be ran as main DPS, and that E1 can be ran as like some sitting duck support just for the amp. Right? Has a godly E1, has a shitty Lycone, meaning he's free to play friendly, uses generalist supports. Like, it's bait, but I'm a fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you want me to do? Well, that's the thing, Solus. I'm so confident that Hoyo was scared of making Asheville too strong. They completely bricked this guy's Eidolons ahead of his E1. Like, you'd think from seeing his E1, if you hadn't seen the rest of the Eidolons, oh my god, right? This guy's about to have the most disgusting vertical investment of all time. This is the next Evernight. And then you look at his E2. I saw a calc. That shit is only a 10% increase to his damage. Like, are we serious, bro? 10% on an E2? The E4 was like also not that big. So it's E1 and then E6. That's it. Anon didn't say Asheville is shit. Anon said Asheville isn't made to play with the older characters, and he won't get his own main DPS for a long time. That's all he said. And technically he was right. Because let's be honest, if you put Asheville in a team with any of the previous follow-up DPSs, all their teams need like at least double the cost as compared to his hyper carry. Like, you are actively nerfing him. So technically, Anon wasn't wrong. Yeah, like, the furthest you can go for good vertical investment for him outside of teammates is his E1. That's it. Ain't shit else. Now that I think about it, it's weird that the first 3 characters of a new version are a support and 2 sub DPSs. They're just taking a different route of selling teams this patch. It seems like they're trying to see how it goes with selling sub DPSs and supports before they sell the main DPS first. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because, like, I already talked about this in my last stream today, but making the EMC upgrade and sub DPS for the Annie unit as the first characters in the patch, but they aren't bricked because you can run the sub DPS as main DPS temporarily. This is way better than what they did in 3.x with Eggy in my day. Like, let's all be honest. I think most of us can agree. Asheville and then Sparksy Yao Guang or Aglaya in my day. Like, I think most of us would be taking the Asheville, Yao Guang, and Sparksy route. How do they expect people to pull Yao and Sparksy and then invest in 4.2 units? Well, 2 patches in a row of only one new limited character. New planet, so 120 pulls. Anniversaries, another 120 pulls. And then they're just going to rerun Sparksy and Yao Guang in 4.3 anyways. Sparksy and Yao Guang don't even really need their light cones if you run them as sub DPS support for Silverwolf, so not bad. And then Yao Guang doesn't even, or sorry, not Yao Guang, Evanesia doesn't even use Sparksy because she seems to be a hyper carry. So she has an even cheaper team. Time to say goodbye. Since overseas is no longer safe, Mortis leaks will be closed forever. Are people joking, or are you just guys just making this up because of the HomDG thing? Like, HomDG, the only reason he got, wait, no, 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 actually, no, no, no. I saw a post on it, and HomDG apparently was getting contacted by Hoyo before they did their Yunli cosplay with cease and desists, but he didn't care. So they decided to take it to court. So it wasn't the Yunli cosplay. He's trolling. It's real. Anon texted it. Seal commented on it, so it's likely a troll. It is probably a troll, I'm not gonna lie. They already trolled a little bit when HomDG did their Yunli cosplay as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if they trolled again. Eva might be the poor man's 4.x goat. She is not gonna be that, man. Eva's best in slot team is about to be like Evanesia, EMC, Yao Guang, and then future Elation Sustain. That shit is not free to play friendly. At least temporarily, she'll probably have Huo Huo as a best in slot. Yao Guang doesn't need energy to print skill points for Sparksy? Yes. A lot of people... how could I say this very simply so people can understand this Yao Guang thing? Because I feel like people do not understand the value of Yao Guang because they just don't understand the value of Thrill and they only see skill points, right? So, to remind you all, Sparksy's Elation skill generates 2 Thrill and Yao Guang's generates 1 skill point, right? And Sparksy can use Thrill in replacement of skill points. So this means every AHA instant currently that Yao Guang does with her ult automatically generates 3 skill points worth. And she can usually get 2 in a 0 cycle, which is 6. Then every normal Elation skill will obviously count +1 SP for Yao Guang as well. So she ends up being highly SP positive, very highly. And in the future, when we get the Silverwolf, Sparksy, and Yao Guang team, Sparksy will generate 3 more Thrill on her ult, because 3 Elation characters or more allows this, meaning +6 skill points in a team with Yao Guang, mono Elation with Sylvie. So you generate 18 skill points worth in a 0 cycle. I mean, 4.2 isn't going to change anything, Jerry. Like, this is the problem, and I keep telling people this. They can say they're going to wait, but if you're going to wait to see if maybe Yao Guang gets replaced or some shit, it's not going to happen until near the end of the version. You aren't going to see shit in the upcoming beta. Because the Herda Shop Lycone already leaks that EMC is a hyper carry buffer, and it's like, hyper carry buffer and mono Elation with a sub-DPS where everybody is supposed to do damage. And this is assuming the possibility EMC even has the SP positivity of Yao Guang, which I'm doubtful on. It's just not happening, man. That waiting for beta won't change anything. Yeah, Sparksy is not for Evanesia. Sparksy is for Yao Guang. Or, oh my god. Sparksy is for Silverwolf. Yao Guang is for every Elation DPS. It doesn't matter who. She's like fully built as like a dedicated Elation support. It would be better for Evanesia to not be Elation. I agree, and it is unfortunate, but if you want Silverwolf and you want Evanesia, then you are going to have to fight over Yao Guang, over who gets her. So you probably just use Yao Guang in the team that wants her more, which in this case would probably be Silverwolf, and you just go from there. Is it possible that EMC is a team buffer that targets himself or an ally like Tribby? Well, no. Because the Herda Shop cone says the person he targets gets Elation damage %. Right? Like, the person he targets gets Elation damage %. So, it's unlikely that that's the case. Actually, I'll just read it again. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me go to Hakushin. After the wearer uses their skill or ultimate on one ally character, increases the target's elation. Yeah. So, For example, at S5 for the Herda cone, you need to target a specific character, and that specific character will get the elation damage increase. If this were like a Tribby situation, then this light cone would literally be useless because you're not giving any elation stat at all. Similar to RMC Cyrene, EMC will be a hyper carry buffer. Yao Guang is the AoE buffer for elation damage. And it's going to stay like that. Yeah, if EMC was sustained, it would have been way better in my opinion, but it's like, you know, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Yeah. So like this is why I'm so confident. Leakers have agreed with Anon that we aren't getting more elation characters anytime soon. So EMC and Yao Guang are staying as probably the only elation supports until like late 4.x. And then it's questionable whether or not there's even a so-called EMC upgrade for hypercarry for Evanesia, because Evanesia isn't the one who's supposed to get the shield treatment, it's Silverwolf. In my opinion, my biased opinion, I mean, to be fair, I've done a shit ton of theory crafting to reach this opinion, but Yao Guang and Sparksy aren't leaving Silverwolf's team. They just aren't. It's not happening. I think Yao Guang is a Cyrene. They're treating Yao Guang like Cyrene for the elation path. Anon deleted everything on their Telegram so they weren't joking. Oh. Damn. Hey. I'll wait a bit longer to see, but that would that would fucking sting. This would also mean all the theories of him being a Hoyo employee were completely wrong. Or at least he wasn't being fed the information. I mean, they could just be joking, but if they aren't, then... Because, like, let's be honest, Anon should have already known about this entire suing thing going on for a while now. Like, the theory of Yun Lee or Hamdi GCat getting sued has been a thing for, like, months, so it's kind of weird that they just do it suddenly today. We are now entering the leakless era. Yeah, if Anon actually is gone, people will realize that they hated the guy too much. They took his ass for granted. I'm sorry. I usually don't say this, but Anon is probably like the most optimal leaker anybody would want for a gacha game. Guy leaks multiple patches ahead, significantly more accurate, leaks more than probably any other leaker in the space, and has a 100% track record. If we lose this guy, it's going to take a lot longer for us to get leaks and for people to actually give us info. What are you going to do? Nothing. I mean, we'll still get leaks. It's just that it'll take longer for the information to reach us, probably. Like, for example, it's not like Anon is always the first to things. For example, it was Sakura Haven who came out about the limited 5-star selector, and then after, it was Anon who said something about it and gave information. So, yet, like, yeah, he had it, but Anon doesn't leak everything. So we'll still be fine for the most part. But for example, Anon leaking preset best in slot teams for the 4.2 characters is a completely different thing that other leakers don't usually do. Like before, we always had to wait until the new beta to actually get a glimpse into best in slot teams in kit. So, wouldn't have as much foresight, basically. You'll have to post gameplay, true. Gabby is the closest thing to a leaker. Nah, it's just like I just use common sense, which ends up being wrong sometimes because sometimes the game doesn't use common sense. But Yao Guang being like a Sirena, the elation path is decently obvious in my opinion. I could be wrong, but it's like, who the fuck are they gonna make more SB positive than Yao Guang, who fits as a team buffer and synergizes perfectly with everybody on the team? I don't know, bro. Like, if they do that, I mean, fuck. I'm losing my faith in this game. If Nihilux is an elation sustain, yeah. Just saw it is true, unfortunately. Oh, damn. What if there never is an elation sustain? How delusional do you guys get? Like, why do you guys ask what ifs that have a 99% chance of not happening given this game's previous track record? I don't get it. Yeah, dude, the most shield path and the Annie main push team isn't gonna get a best in slot sustain, but the follow-up one will. Himiko will. But the elation team, nah, bro. They're skipping out on the sustain. Let's get fucking real, bro. Okay, let's get real. Elation only needs 3 out of 4? No. Mono elation means when aha instants go, you get 4 elation skills, which you can benefit from both in damage and utility. Yes, aha instant speed caps out at 3. That doesn't mean a 4th elation character isn't going to make a difference. Who are you going to use with Silverwolf? Tell me. Buffed Woho? The energy regenning sustain is going to be best in slot for the DPS who doesn't give a shit about energy. Let's be real, man. Let's be real. My guess is the elation sustain just has more utility on their elation skill. Like, I assume the goal for the mono elation team with Silverwolf is to generate as many skill points and thrill as possible so that Sparksy can skill as much as possible feeding Punchline to Silverwolf, which allows Silverwolf to enter ult. It just makes the most sense. I mean, maybe raid leader. Who knows? I mean, by the Herda Shop cone, he's a support, man. There's literally no other Elation character who can use that Herda Shop cone. And we're not getting Elation characters for a long time, so... yeah. We'll see. There we go. I'd expect Pearl to be the yearly sustain. There's 2 sustains every single version. One probably goes to Elation, the other one goes to Pearl for this version. I beg, don't nerf him. We'll see, Solus, we'll see. What is Aventurine SP going to be if Pearl is a sustain? Why would you assume Aventurine would be a sustain 2 times in a row? He's obviously going to be like a DPS or support. There's no point in making an SP if you literally just make them the exact same. Tusk beer. Alright, chat. I farmed enough people with this title. Cool, quick discussion. Hopefully that Anon shit isn't real and he's trolling. If he isn't, then we just lost the greatest leaker across any gacha game. Unfortunate. And come to my videos because I'm a prophet and I'm definitely a Hoyo employee who spreads Yao Guang propaganda. Have a great day. Have a great night.